Well, actually, it's a constant challenge between yourself. And the teacher is the nature.
So no secret vitamins, juices, exercises, nothing.
Welcome to Dive Around the World, the podcast that brings you stories, insights, and adventure from beneath the surface. Each episode, we explore the people, places, and passion that make diving more than just a sport.
Hello, and welcome back to the Dive Around the World podcast. Today, it's going to be me, Corinna Davids, and I'm going to be talking to Memo. And today, we have an exciting topic. As you know, in this podcast, once a month, we talk about fun stories and anecdotes we've survived at and lived through. And the other podcast is about a new program. And this new program, an updated program, is Performance Freediver. This is the highest level of recreational freediving certifications that we do. So it's really exciting. And
It is, yeah.
Today, we're going to talk about the relaunch. Memo, how are you doing?
Yeah. I'm great. Actually, the launch of the program is coming closer. It feels exciting and quite energetic, actually. We are all looking forward to see the new package online, right?
Been quite a long way coming, right? I mean, the old version of the program's been there for a long time, and the new version is essentially completely updated. Is there anything left of the old program besides the standards?
No, not really. Not really. It's kind of like the skills that we teach in the old program are the similar. Like there's a little bit of a variation. However, the academic content is 100% different. And just like you said, initially, the original program was written in 2011, got updated in 2015, 16, slightly, but it was kind of a light makeup. But then since 2021, we have been rewriting all student programs, and this is the last piece of the puzzle. The last program in the sequel is going to be changed 100%.
Full-on glow up. I love that. You know, there's a trend on Instagram right now where everybody's showing me in 2000s and me now. So perfect for this trend.
Exactly. Yeah. We are just trying to keep it up.
The Performance Freediver glow up.
Exactly.
So why does Performance Freediver matter for today's freediver?
Well, actually, that's the pinnacle of student level programs, right? Somebody can start trying freediving with our try programs like Try Freediving, Basic Freediver, or they can jump into the boat of certification with Pool Freediver. If they like it, they move into Advanced Freediver. But then if they really like it and if they feel like they are committed to the sport, this becomes the last level and the pinnacle of training. And the skills this program and the knowledge this program delivers to the customer or the student is quite special, because with this information, with this training, if you just repeat them enough, basically you can break a world record. You can be the deepest freediver or the longest breath holder or the furthest dynamic apnea guy in the history of mankind. So
Girl.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite special because it gives quite specialized information, which makes a lot of sense for the ones who spend some time in the world of freediving. Let's call it that way.
So in this whole era of glow up, since 2015, you said, why did we really update it? Has information changed? Do we have more information? Is there anything different, or did we just go more in depth?
Well, a little bit of everything, I would say. First of all, we constantly get feedback from our customers. At this level, the performance freedivers are not that many as the freedivers. We have to accept that. That's, like I said, that's a niche program which is designed for people who are looking for performance and safety while achieving performance. So the feedback, we get quite a lot, but we piled up all the feedback from the customer, and that is one part of it. The second thing is, as we develop new programs, we realize how to teach our students in a better and more efficient way. So we are developing our know-how on our shoulders. So that is also the second reason why we wanted to apply all this know-how in the new program. And of course, the trends are changing, the knowledge is changing, people are making researches about freediving, and it's our responsibility to keep everything up to date with today's information, knowledge, and standards. That's why we said this is the time.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, there's
So
no
we've
luxury
recently-
like staying behind anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. In today's world, that's really difficult. So we recently launched the Freedive Challenge as well, right?
Yeah.
How would
we
you
did.
say these two things, obviously Freedive Challenge not being a real program, but more being this competition type challenge.
Mm.
Do you think these programs or these things can work together or are like a great thing? Like a, how would you call it? Just symbiosis. That's the word I was looking
Yeah. Of course, the freedive challenge, the good thing with it is it can be kind of symbiotic with any level of training. So, a freediver can join into the freedive challenge and enjoy themselves quite nicely. An advanced freediver as well. About the performance freediver, I think they may like it like a swim squad. It can give them exactly the reason to continue training, to be regular on their mission, to create a little bit more commitment. In freediving, it's always like that, Corinna. It's like you are on your own journey to find something. Maybe it is your fears, maybe it is your passion, or maybe it is the challenge the freediving is giving naturally. So performance freedivers can find a lot of things, when joining the challenge. That's the reality.
So now we're going deeper, right?
Mm.
When we go deeper, are there any weird tips that you wouldn't put into a book? Maybe you wouldn't write down that you maybe can say out loud in our podcast?
Yeah, actually, that can be one, right? So let me assure you, first of all, there are no hidden secrets that we know but didn't put it in the book. What we know, technically sound and safe and good are all in the book. What I would say about not putting in the book, but can say it here is, when you're doing deep freediving, it's totally normal to feel a little bit feeling afraid of the dive. Depth can sometimes be scary. It can be overwhelming, but we feel like a committed freediver usually feels like that is something they have to achieve and they have to swallow or beat. That's not the thing though. So if you feel like deep dives are overwhelming you, deep dives are feeling a little bit scary, you should just acknowledge that and step one back and continue repeating what you feel safe and comfortable until the time comes that you feel okay to try the next step. For some people, this can be just a couple of sessions. For some people, this can be actually years. What people don't understand is we are not the same. And we shouldn't feel like I have to compare myself with you. That's the key point. So, of course, in the book, we don't have a section like, if freediving feels scary for you, do that. With enough repetition, it shouldn't feel scary. But we give that message plenty of times.
So no secret vitamins, juices, exercises, nothing. I learned one once. If you do deep hangs and you feel like you have to go up now, just think about having to pee. And then if you can pee, it will give you an extra minute.
Maybe it's a way to release some stress, right? Yeah, the thing is,
Works for
brain
some
is
people.
always protective. It's trying to protect ourselves, but there are no shortcuts around it. You can try peeing if that helps, but the answer is like training more, becoming more regular in the water. That's what it matters. Yeah.
Because freediving really is the only sport where doing absolutely nothing is considered the peak performance, right?
Yeah. Well, but this book is also talking about how to train in the gym, for example, or how to train for freediving. We don't say these things are not important. These things are definitely important, because if you're doing a big performance, there comes a time where your oxygen levels start to go a little bit lower, and your coordination, it starts to get a little bit weaker than what you are doing now when you're breathing. So if you train enough, if you train for a purpose with specific targets, maybe you can keep your coordination at a higher level, even if the conditions are not optimal for, compared to what you do on a daily basis. So you can train and get better for sure.
One topic that's really interesting for me, also obviously with the scuba diving background, because we talk about this a lot, is narcosis, right? I know some freedivers even go on this hunt of that little narcosis feeling. What's the weirdest thought you've ever had in depth? Maybe because of narcosis.
Well, I would say I get narked a couple of times, but my deep, as you know, narcosis is quite subjective. You may be having the effects of narcosis at 100 meters, but I might be starting to get them around 70. So it's not easy to compare what you have and what I have. Many years ago, when I was training depth, I had a couple of times, the effects of narcosis. Initially, what I felt was, scary thoughts. Everything was like a little bit too medieval under the water. Of course, the colors disappear. Everything is shades of gray. And when I turned into the, openness of the ocean, which is not blue anymore, it's kind of like gray, it felt like scary. And I remember trying to reach back to the surface a little bit faster than what I normally do. And then I gave a couple of days off. The next time I tried the same depth, I was diving with my eyes closed. And when I opened my eyes, there was the lanyard stopper right in front of me, which is bright yellow color, of course, which I remember from the land, right? So I opened my eyes, I saw this lanyard stopper, and it was glooming like fluorescent yellow in front of me. It kind of gave me this joy, and I felt super happy because the color was beautiful, in this vast grayness. So it became one of the best dives. I came back to the surface, shared this with my buddy, and she was like, yellow, right? At that depth. So I was clearly narked. This is how I discovered that it's affecting me. So you should try to find your own solution. For me, it was kind of like focusing on something that I remember from land. It was totally changing the psychology of the dive. And some people even hallucinate. They say, I saw a panda bear. They swear there are some flowers. Or maybe they make up the stories just to be cool.
It's really weird, right? It's more like this little dream that you might have, because it goes away when you come up, right? It happens when you go down, and then it goes away when you come up. So it's like, did it really happen? So let's get back to the program.
Okay.
What is really and truly new in this program?
Well, almost everything is new. So the previous program had 4 sections, and one was kind of like a recap of the previous sections. So we ditched that idea. We have now 6 sections focusing on different things. So let me look at my cheat sheet. So the first section is about the knowledge. Of course, we are talking about the what and whys of the fundamental knowledge of this program, like deep equalization, what kind of things are necessary to feel comfortable at depth. And then in the second one, we are also talking a lot about how to prepare yourself mentally for better performances. We are talking a lot about meditation and how to prepare your mind. But of course, it's just to give our readers an idea of what are they and why they are working, why they are useful. The third section is about the skills, or in other words, how the training when they meet with their instructor is going to take place. Rather than describing the skills one by one, We are now describing the sessions and how they are going to take place. We do not kill the surprise factor. We don't teach them or give them what they have to do exactly, but we give them some hints and also some little homeworks in this section so that they feel a bit more motivated to prepare themselves for the real adventure in the water. Section 4 is about the equipment. Here we talk about safety equipment especially for this level of freediving. And of course, we are talking about the performance grade equipment, which includes monofins, some ideas for them to train, to make their breathing position or preparation more comfortable. So at that level, usually freedivers have everything, when it comes to equipment. So it's a little bit tough to give them some new equipment suggestions, but we have some good stuff there. The fifth section is about safety. So narcosis, DCS, barotraumas, advanced rescue techniques are there. And some of them are 100% new that was missing in the old book, like the advanced rescue techniques. How to take a victim out of the water to a boat or to a land with a single rescuer, with double rescuers. So this kind of stuff was missing in our books, but now we have it. Of course, the previous books are giving the foundation of rescue practices. We are not repeating that. We are just adding on top of the existing knowledge. And the last section is all about increasing their performance. We are talking about how to train in the gym, how to set targets, how to condition yourself physically, and we give them some ideas for the future. And the final section is about why not you become an instructor in SSI. Being a freediving instructor is something super fancy. So we give them the idea and suggest them to discuss this with their instructors.
Awesome. I really like this, and also the clear chapters. That's something that is really nice. And one thing that I have to say, this program, how it is built now, is so much easier also to teach for freediving instructors because it follows that entirely new SSI outline and the system we've built over the last few years. So it's very clearly structured, and which makes it also so much easier to read, and and so much easier to jump back into, right? Because this is really a program that you're going to read once, but then you will come back to many times in future just to get a piece of information. And I think it's super easy to find and super easy to recite whatever piece of information you need now.
I totally agree. Besides, we have a new certification option for this program. So previously, this is because it requires deep freediving. This was kind of a summer program or high season program. But now we have a performance pool freediver certification option, which, lets the students start the program even in the middle of winter, discussing the academic part in detail, adding a lot of pool sessions to get stronger, and maybe do some fantastic dives in the high season and upgrade themselves from performance pool to performance freediver. So it's giving a lot of flexibility for the instructor, but also it's giving a lot of motivation and a constant learning freediving experience for the users.
So who is this program designed for? Also meaning a little bit, what are the prerequisites? So who can join it? Do I have to be an SSI Advanced Freediver period, or can I come from somewhere else? Or tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so let's call it this way. You have to be an SSI Advanced Freediver or equivalent, which means that any other agency freediver which is equal to that level can come and take that program without repeating the advanced freediver. It just builds on their existing skills. However, we always suggest that, when we launch this kind of program, it's not a bad idea to add a couple of training sessions before you start a program at this caliber. So if you are another agency freediver and like the idea of joining our classes, maybe it's really a good idea just to practice a couple of sessions and, keep it up with the level. and make your experience, the rest of your experience, more enjoyable. Same for our customers. If there had been some time between your last training session and the time you're registering into this program, I think it's definitely a good idea to train a little bit before you start.
So let's get back into the topic of freediving a little bit.
Mm.
Freediving is this really, it's in itself actually a weird thing, right? Who would just randomly decide, let me hold my breath and go as deep as I possibly can without ever wanting to breathe? But it also does teach you a lot. So what would you say is one thing that freediving teaches you that nothing else on this planet does?
Well, actually, it's a constant challenge between yourself and yourself. And the teacher is the nature. So you cannot get arrogant, or you cannot be, you cannot overachieve yourself. You have to know yourself. If you want to take 2 steps at a time, freediving immediately let you know that this is 2 steps. That's not 1 step at a time. So the feedback is instant. Feedback is constant. And of course, everyone likes to improve themselves while freediving. That's a feeling which makes people fall in love with freediving, actually. So that's the best part of it, I would say. Yeah.
And there's no way of cheating. I like to say the same thing when it comes to swimming, right? When you start running, you can breathe completely wrong and you can still run. You can do whatever you want to when it comes to breathing. It will feel really, really horrible in your lungs and when you run and everything, but you can still run. So you can kind of cheat. When you swim, there's no way of cheating because you need to keep your face in the water in order to swim properly.
Exactly.
So you need to breathe correctly. And if you don't breathe correctly, you will not be able to swim, especially not long distances. And the same with freediving, you need to have your breathe up done right. You need to be in the right headspace because if you're underwater, you can't just cheat and take a quick breath, It's just no option.
Exactly. Cheating is no option. But of course, it's the nature of humankind. We are always looking for some shortcuts to progress faster. And whenever someone comes with a brilliant idea, brilliant in brackets, everyone thinks this is the solution. This is the key for, this is the secret which has been, hidden for many generations, but actually not. Every shortcut you take makes you struggle in the next phase. You have to always go back, fix that mistake, and move on, digesting all the information and skills. If you want everything, flow with peace, calmness, and happiness. Yeah.
Doesn't sound like you're like a Bali hippie at all, Memo.
Well, when you're just freediving, at some point you start sounding like that.
Everything just needs to flow with peace, happiness, and calmness.
Yeah. I mean, freedivers will understand me 100% because we all have an experience where things do not flow like that.
Yeah, that is very true. This is also why I think it never really works out for freediving and scuba centers to be in the same place, because there's just very different people at work.
Exactly. So
from an infrastructure, it's the same, but that's really where it ends.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a little bit of diving is not diving for everyone. We have different goals, different mindsets. It can be 100% different.
Yeah. And I think freediving, you have to be able to kind of calm your mind, which for some people, like maybe me, who don't calm their mind ever at all and just can't, freediving is the only place where it kind of works,
Yeah. It's hard to think about something else while freediving. I think it's your instincts, making you focus on the task you're achieving 100%, because you're discovering another world which you are not part of. We need to breathe, and that world requires holding your breath. So there is this mandatory focus you have to pay. Otherwise, there are consequences. So you just cannot forget holding your breath while diving. So it's simple as that. So we need to focus hard while freediving, which is good. Yeah. You feel kind of like relaxed.
Yeah, in itself, freediving is actually a contradiction because you are holding your breath. Your body is in like, breathe, 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 emergency, emergency, crazy, crazy. But you have to be calm and relaxed. That's the only way you can continue freediving. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. It's the same for when I teach new swimmers, especially adults that had like some drowning experiences in the past or some like scary experiences in the water. You need to teach them to float on the back at first, right? You teach them to float on the back. And in order to float on your back, you need to relax. So you're teaching somebody who's dead scared of the water. If ever you fall into a rough ocean off a boat, you need to relax and chill as much as you can and float on your back, which they just look at you like, how am I supposed to relax?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what freediving really is also, in a way.
It is.
So how does this performance freediver program add value for anyone? You know, I'm an advanced freediver. I've enjoyed freediving. I do it for fun. I do it for holiday once, twice a year. Why should I upgrade to performance freediver?
Well, I mean, if you're a committed freediver, but even if you are not, even if your goal is not to get so deep or chase for bigger performances, this program can help you a lot because it is giving you a higher level of understanding of the physiology of freediving. The new skills we teach in this program does not need to be done really deep. You can apply the same skills at shallow depth, which will bring you additional comfort. The only reason we are not teaching these skills in the earlier progress of a freediver is they really require some awareness, muscle control, and logical thinking ability while you're holding your breath. So this is the time when they should learn about these skills and practice for the rest of their life. So even if you are an advanced freediver, but your goals are not to chase performance, this program can make you really comfortable under the water, safer than before, and make you enjoy freediving, I believe, much more than ever. That's the why you should take it.
I agree. And with advanced freediver, you limit yourself to the maximum depth of your equalization, right? Before you
Exactly.
learn mouthfill and
Yeah.
those skills, right? So even if you can hold your breath to easily go to 40 or 50 meters, you will be limited usually somewhere around 30, 40, depending a little bit, by your equalization. So just learning that extra skill, even if you don't use it to end up going to 100 meters or whatever depth and things people go to these days, you just have all the skills required in case you want to go or in case you do not want to limit yourself.
That's the thing. When someone trains regularly, eventually they get deeper, right? But if you do not know the proper equalization techniques, if you do not know how to isolate the air that you are going to use for equalization, for deep dives, then comes a conflict because the air you are using is also the air in your lungs. And as you get deeper, you struggle to find air for equalization, which even if you train a lot, even if you practice a lot, which makes you feel stressed, your body gets under stress, under tension. And if the conditions change, for example, if the water temperature changes dramatically with a thermocline, or if you have the stress factor on top of the depth during the dive, for sure, you will fail to equalize. If you push yourself to equalize, you will hurt yourself. So this one of the skills the new performance freediver teaches is the mouthfill equalization. And this is a skill which eliminates that because, we don't use the air in our lungs continuously to equalize.
Yeah. What performance freediver really is that level where it separates the people that are super sexy on Instagram freediving, with the high-rise swimsuits and just being graceful in the water and pretty blowing bubble rings, and the ones that have always their hood on, nose clip, and full freediving equipment, holding their mouthfill like this separates the sexy from the performance, I think.
It can still be sexy and performance, right?
Sure, Memo, sure.
Yeah. There are a couple of people like that.
I'm just thinking when you watch freediving competitions, there's not really much sexy left in it, is it though?
The girls are good. The girls are quite beautiful. Man,
Yeah,
I
but I'm
don't
just
know.
saying when you got the full hood on and the nose clip on and maybe the goggles and everything, then it's just it's no more like the pretty.
I don't think I'm the right person to ask that, I'm brewed in
Probably
this
not.
industry, so it's kind of like I like what I watch, but it must be a pair of eyes looking outside, yeah.
So now we're going back to tips.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most helpful advice you've ever gotten from a non-diver?
Actually, I have a nice story about it. Many years ago, where I was part of the World Championship. It was in Italy, and the conditions were not nice. It was like stormy, cold water, gray skies. Everyone was turning a little bit early due to the stress, super challenging the focus. And of course, just like the rest of the pack, I was like trying to constantly find an excuse not to do the dive. I was feeling like I was always complaining, oh, it's a little bit too cold. Oh, my legs are tired. Oh, maybe I have a digestion problem. So it's kind of like you make these reasons to bail out, right? And there comes the amazing advice of my wife. And she said, you have to think freediving as a race to collect experience points. It's not the destination, which is the tag or the bottom plate of the deepest part of the dive. It's the whole package you should be thinking about. So that morning, you wake up for a purpose, you collect 5 points. You make your stretching routine, you collect another 5 points. You prepare your breakfast or whatever you have to consume before the dive, it's another 5-10 points. You pack your bag, check everything in detail, it's a 10 point. You drive to the warm-up area, another 5 point because you socialize, observe other people, learn something from the experience. You go to the warm-up zone, you do your warm-ups, and no matter what stress level you are, you try to do your warm-up, which works for you. That is maybe an additional 20 points for you. So by the time, you come to the last piece of the puzzle, which is just the deep dive, you are already at point 85, 90 out of 100. And that little piece, the deep dive, is just 5 to 10 points of the whole experience. And if you start that dive, the deep dive, it doesn't matter if you turn early or if you make the dive, you just learned a lot from that day of freediving. So that mindset changed my approach to freediving a lot. So that's, I think, one of the most brilliant advices that was given to me.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Makes a lot of sense, especially in competitions. Looking at this from a competition point of view, even for anything, even if you go for a swim race or a marathon or whatever, if you're not feeling good that day, you already paid the entry fee, which in some places is really expensive. You might as well make use of it, even if it's not your personal best or whatever. It will be an experience, and it will be a competition experience, a race experience. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
I definitely think so. So it's, when you hear this famous phrase, it's not the destination, it's the journey, it doesn't make so much sense. But if somebody explains what this means, then it starts making a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree. I have another interesting question for you. Let's talk a little bit, and this is something we've talked about in another podcast episode, but we will obviously continue with these topics. Which freediver stereotype is painfully accurate?
What do you mean?
Like, what is one thing that all freedivers have in common that's fully stereotypical?
Like the famous phrases like "don't hold your breath," or you will get stupid, kind of. Well, for sure, holding your breath is not dangerous for your brain, right? But freediving is an intense activity where you end up losing a lot of nutrients. So if your nutrition falls back compared to the activity you're trying to achieve, your friends may start making joke of you about how freediving, turns you into a dumb person. So it's kind of like a myth, half busted, so it can be the reality as well. Yeah.
Is there anything about nutrition in this manual? Now that
Yes,
I'm
we have.
curious.
Yeah, we have. However, we are not trying to give our users a full-blown diet, because sports nutrition is a science which is changing almost, every year. There are new trends, but we explain the basics of what you have to follow. We explain what freediving makes you consume and how you should put everything back to your body. So you have to understand what you are burning, and you have to understand how to put these things back, which food groups have what. The rest is up to you. We don't care if you're cooking an omelet or taking your protein from lean meat or protein powder, but you have to have protein, such as fat and carb. These are also very important if you would like to make your sports sustainable and doesn't affect the rest of your life. That's what it makes sense.
Generally, I recommend don't eat anything with lots of onion, garlic, or anything that you don't want to be smelling again right before freediving.
Yeah, it was the old day myths. I think it was almost like at the end of 1980s, there was this, rumor on the street, like eating garlic before freediving makes you hold your breath like longer. It was just making everyone having a bad mouth.
Imagine being on that boat before the competition.
Yeah, probably everyone was smelling the same.
I get it. I get it. No, it's the trick that the more you smell, the more it takes out your competition.
Maybe, yeah.
So
maybe
you will
it's
win.
just to
So
chop
there's
off the rest
something.
of the gang. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So as a last question before we end up here, what can people expect during this rollout? So obviously it's coming very soon. When we launch this podcast, it's probably within the week or two from when the rollout happens. So what can customers expect, especially people that might already have the old manual or might already be performance freedivers?
So first of all, we are trying to make this rollout as smooth as possible. We are sending a lot of emails to different people, starting from our service centers, then training centers, instructors, and of course the customers, the students, freedivers themselves. So what's going to happen is, as soon as the new manual is out, the old manual is going to disappear. So if you're at a stage where you're already training your, performance freediver program, you will lose your progress. You will lose your progress on the review questions. You will lose your progress on everything. And the system is going to ask you to repeat everything in the new materials, which is not a bad thing, if you ask me. The new manual is way more interesting than the old one. So I think you should feel happy about it and do the questions one more time, because these are new questions. It's not kind of like the same thing twice again. It will feel a little bit more interesting. And like I said, we are going to make a lot of announcements. That is the main thing which may affect your life. Other than that, as soon as the rollout happens, you will find the new materials in your app or at the web login without any additional fee. So we are going to upgrade your book into a total new piece of art. Let's call it that.
Free content.
Yeah. So it's going to be new book with the rollout.
That's awesome. That's really nice. Anybody out there who already is a performance freediver, read that new book, free of charge, super interesting, will help you a lot in your freediving journey. Even if you're not looking for, as we said, mega performance competitions and things, it will just make you a better all-round freediver.
Definitely.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Memo, for another amazing session. I'm super excited to have had you. And anybody listening, please subscribe if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, where we're on now also. And even if you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe. And we're excited to see you in the next one, hear you in the next one. If you guys have any ideas, anything you would like to hear in future, obviously put it in the comments. We're always excited to hear from you. And we will hear you in the next episode of Dive Around the World. Thank you.
Yeah. See you later.